Let's try something new. Junkjack is a game that I found recently. I was thinking about doing another Terraria series, but there hasn't been a lot of new Terraria content since the last time I played, and I was looking around and I found this game that you might describe as a Terraria knockoff, I suppose. I think it's a game that actually started out as like a mobile game on iPad, like touch game or something, and then has recently been ported to PC and Steam. It's currently in early access, and it definitely lacks some polish at the moment, but at the same time was sufficiently good that I was somewhat enjoying myself after playing it for a few hours just to try it out. And it reminds me a bit of like the Terraria 1.0 days. And so I decided I would try at least a short Let's Play of this game. You guys can let me know what you think, and I'll decide as I move forward how much I want to do with this game. But in any case, like I said, I've already played a few hours of this game, but I went ahead and created a new character and a new world for us to begin in. And so let's begin, and I'll try to describe things. The main influences, I think it feels mostly like Terraria, but then also has a bit that's like Minecraft. For example, I'm not starting out with any tools, and I'm punching trees to go ahead and get things started. And there's also different animals who will spawn on the surface, kind of like in the days of beta Minecraft, when animals would just kind of naturally spawn on their surface on their own. And so there's like a bird down here at the lower left that I see, for example. And I have my inventory, and so right now I have some bamboo sprouts that I can go and replant, but I've gotten some bamboo that I don't even know what I can do with that yet, because I don't think I ever got far enough in the game in order to figure those things out. But just like a Minecraft game, you need to start things off by gathering some wood. And it is also the case that you get tree saplings that you can just go ahead and replant. And so I'm going to replant some trees to make sure that we have plenty of wood that's available near our spawn point right over here. There's things like dirt that I can go ahead and just punch out if I wanted to do that. But then you can also make tools, as you might expect. And so if I go into the crafting thing over here with my bare hands, it shows me different things I can make. I can make wooden planks out of the wood that I already have. There's actually two different kind of crafting modes. One is this mode where it's more like Terraria, where it simply shows you available things that you know how to make and which ones are actually available that you can make right now. So I've gone ahead and set things up with the simple craft. And so basically, once I have a particular item selected, I can simply click on this button, and it will go ahead and craft that item. And now that I actually have some wooden planks in my inventory, a whole lot of other things have been opened up to me that I can craft. And so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a workbench, which takes a bunch of wooden planks and some wood, because I would like to have one of those for some more advanced crafting. But then, as you can imagine, I'm also going to want to get a wooden pickaxe and go find some stone to dig in order to build some first stone tools. When you're doing crafting like this, it is the case that it kind of like takes time based on the amount of materials in order to craft it. If instead you're doing the 3x3 crafting, where you actually lay out the items in the 3x3 grid, then you can just kind of craft whatever you want in your inventory as fast as you kind of, can actually, click the buttons to do it. And just to show, actually, I'm not going to set down the crafting table and show that just yet, because I don't yet have the tool to pick up the crafting table. And so instead, let's see. There is fall damage in this game, but I think I can jump down here safely. I can always make a way back up for myself in a little bit. I didn't go ahead and make myself a wooden hammer, or sorry, a wooden axe, which I might want to do if I'm going to be chopping down many more trees. Let's go ahead and make myself a few more planks, and let's go ahead and make myself a wooden shovel. And can I make myself a wooden axe? Yes, there's a wooden axe. And most of the tools are kind of what you'll be familiar with from Minecraft or Terraria in terms of what tools you use on which items. There are more tools in this game, and yeah, I'll kind of like talk about them as I get to them. I should also note that I'm by no means an expert in this game. Like, I've played it for a few hours and read a little bit of stuff on the wiki, but the wiki's kind of not always up to date and not completely there. So inside this piece of grass over here, it looks like there's some coal. And so if I dig that up, you can see that in addition to the dirt block, there was also some coal that went in my inventory. And so coal lumps can be used in furnaces, as you might imagine. You can swim in this game by pressing upwards. And I see a whole lot of stone over here. And so I'm going to head over this way and use my wooden pickaxe to start digging up some stone, and we can make some better tools with some stone things. It's also the case that there's a day-night cycle in this game. I'm not sure, I don't know if there's like a sun that travels across the screen or anything like that. But it is the case that it will turn nighttime and monsters will come out after some amount of time passes. And so we'll have to worry about that. It's also the case that as I kind of dig further under here, you can see things kind of getting darker. And so that kind of works as you might expect. In this case, it's a little bit more Minecrafty from the point of view of monsters spawn in the dark as opposed to Terraria in terms of monster spawning with backgrounds. But I just went ahead and crafted some torches. Let me go ahead and get the torches in my bar. And so if I place a torch right over here, you can see it kind of lights up this area once again. Got some noisy cows over here who want to announce their presence. And yeah, also like, I guess Minecraft or Terraria probably. You may want to make a shelter for your first night. And the thing that I'm going to do to start things off is just kind of like dig out underneath this hill a little bit of space where I can kind of set up shop and make a home base, because it seems like a reasonable spot. There's probably a number of other things that you might see on the screen already that look interesting, and we'll check them out in a little bit. But I am just going to set up shop over here. This is probably enough kind of cut out just to get things started right here. I'm going to set down my crafting table, and if I click on it with the workbench, then there are a number of other new things that kind of pop up that I could eventually make if I had the materials. The ones that are not grayed out are the ones that I actually have the materials to make, so things like a forge, something else that I'm going to want, and so let's go ahead and craft one of those. And it basically works like a furnace in Minecraft or Terraria in terms of being able to cook up ores and also being able to cook up some food animals. Food restores health, kind of like in Minecraft beta, and so I could just like cook up some cow meat and it'll restore like 10 points of whatever. Like up in the top left, I have 50 health points, and there's also like an air meter for like when you're swimming underwater or whatever. And like Terraria, there are kind of two layers. There's a background layer that you can see behind me and a foreground layer. And so I can place a block against the background layer in order to have it appear in the foreground. And my character can actually jump 2 blocks high. So I could jump up here. Oh, neat. This is like a different type of tree, different type of wood. I don't think I encountered this in my previous world. I only ran into one type of tree and wood. And so I'm going to chop these 2 guys down and see if I get a new type of sapling and just like see how it appears in my inventory. Yes, there's a new sapling. This is called whitewood, and it is a cork oak tree sapling. Fascinating. So despite the fact that this is kind of an early access game on Steam, and you can also use the same tool to dig out the background blocks, and so there's like dirt in the background here that I can dig out by just like digging the same square a second time. I was saying, despite the fact that this is an early access game on Steam, the fact that it has already been around as kind of like an iOS game means that there is a lot of depth to the content as far as I can tell. I think I've only kind of scratched the surface of what's available based on my own playthrough so far. Up in the upper left, you can see my little blue bar going down as I'm kind of running low on air. And then when I get back into the surface, my air meter is going to like refill. And if you run out of air, I think you start taking damage, as you might expect. But I just wanted to go ahead and dig up a little bit more coal. Yeah, and so despite being rough around the edges, it is the case that there's a lot of depth of content from what I could tell. There are multiple weapons, and they feel somewhat Terraria-y. I'm going to craft a stone sword, and I'm going to craft a stone spear. Oops. And just kind of show you how those various weapons work. Let me go ahead and get the spear on my bar somewhere right over here. So the sword just swings like this, and so I can kill little birdies with it, and I think maybe they'll sometimes drop feathers or something. Ooh, did he drop an egg? He dropped a chicken egg. I don't think I've ever had a chicken egg drop before either. So that's kind of how that works. The sword is pretty good for hitting guys who are on the same level as you. The spear, one nice thing about it is you can kind of aim it in different directions. And so if there's an animal below me down here, or more likely an enemy below me, you can also see the night. It's like it's about to change to nighttime. I can kill the pig and get some pig meat, which we can cook up into bacon. The spear kind of like lets you attack in different directions, and so if there's like a bat flying above you or a slime on the floor below you, you can get at those bad guys a little bit easier. But I'm going to kill the various mobs because they seem to respawn on the surface during the daytime. And then you may have seen this in a few places, something that looks like a wooden crate. And if I break this open, it contains all kinds of things. So I'm going to grab these things. It's about to turn nighttime. So I'm going to quickly head back into my hole and just kind of close it up. Let me get another torch. Do I have another torch? Let me go ahead and craft another torch, which is something I can craft with my bare hands just by doing this. I'll go ahead and craft a few more torches and get them on my bar, like so, just so I can light up my little square down here. But the things we just picked up from that crate were nails, ladders, some wheat seeds, so we could start planting some wheat plants. We managed to get some leather, I think, from killing a cow, and some feathers from killing a chicken, I think. Bark, I guess, came from that cork oak tree, because I haven't seen that before either. So we got a bunch of stuff. I'm going to cook up some food just so that we have it later when we take some damage, and just get a little bit more settled, and then meet you guys in a moment. Cooking food in a furnace takes time. You can kind of like see the heat going up, and then eventually once it gets cooked, it ends up over here. Since I've never had an egg before, I wonder if I can cook an egg. It seems like it will. I already added a lump of coal to the furnace, and so it seems like, I think it maybe cooks 6 items with a lump of coal or something like that. In any case, I've done at least 3 items, and it's going to do at least 4. And yeah, cooked egg. All right, neat. Cool. Let me get a few other things settled. It's gotten a little darker, and there are some monsters who are spawning outside. I think these are like little skeleton dudes. And just to show you that the combat is simplistic but relatively difficult in the early game. On flat surfaces, there's a number of melee creatures like this that are actually relatively easy to handle because they're just kind of walk at you. But then there's a number of other enemies who either jump like these slimes. Oops. And they are a little bit more threatening. There's also some enemies that shoot projectiles. And if you're not on flat ground, if you don't have a spear, I've found that it's very difficult to attack a number of enemies. And so I like having both the sword and the spear in the early game. I guess, yeah, just to go ahead and show it off, let me try to fight this slime. Slimes and other jumping enemies have a tendency to kind of like glitch up through one block, I have found. But these slimes... Oh, there's a spider up there, too. Killing a spider would be good, because spiders can sometimes drop string, which can be used to make a bow. Imagine that. Okay, yeah, you can see the slime broke into smaller slimes, and one of them jumped behind me. And so I'm taking a fair bit of damage over here. I'm going to go ahead and close this back off, since I don't think that there were any drops out there that I need. And yeah, if I take a look at my health, it looks like I'm down to 35. And so, for example, roasted meat, you can just right-click on something in your inventory or whatever, and it will eat it. And 1.0 corresponds to like 10 hit points, so this will bring me from 35 to 45. And so I can kind of heal back up like that. If you die, this is something else that I think is kind of interesting in this game that I just haven't seen. I mean, I haven't played many games, but I haven't seen a game with this particular mechanic. There's a variety of difficulty levels that control a number of things, including what happens when you die. But whereas Terraria with a softcore character, you keep all your items, and Minecraft with a typical character, you drop all of your items. In this game, it picks something in the middle on the normal difficulty, which is the default, which is... Oh, this guy dropped some goo. That's one of the slime drops, is purple goo, which I haven't figured out what to do with yet. Actually, one thing you can do with it is you can make colored torches, kind of like in Terraria. But as I was starting to say, in this game, at normal difficulty, you drop the items that are in your inventory inside the, I guess it's like 6x6, 36 inventory slots here, but you keep the items that are in your hotbar. And so as a result, you'll still have kind of basic weapons and things on you when you respawn, but you'll have dropped all your other items, so you still need to go pick it back up. And so I think that that's kind of an interesting kind of in-between relative to, Minecraft or Terraria that I found interesting in this game so far. Here's another crate. It contained a bunch of stuff, including, I saw one new thing, a potato sprout, which we can use to plant potatoes. And so potatoes and wheat are different foods that we could cook up. Or I don't know about cook up. Actually, I'm not even sure that I figured out what to do with wheat yet in this game. But potatoes, I know you can kind of like eat, cook, and do different things with. And let's see. While it's nighttime, are there any other things that I want to do right now? I can make armor out of wood. I'm not sure exactly how valuable it is. Since I haven't managed to get any out of crates, I can also craft wooden arrows using a feather, a plank, and some wood. And I don't know that I've actually... Oh, it crafts 30 at a time. I don't think I've ever crafted them before. We don't have a bow yet. Like I said, if we manage to kill a spider, I think maybe I already know the recipe for a bow. Did I talk about this? Yeah, wood bow here requires 2 spider silk, which are string, and I found that the spiders actually dropping that is relatively rare. The arrows are an ammunition, and you actually have an ammunition slot in your inventory, so I can put the arrows over here, and your armor slots are over here. And there's also like some kind of trinket or something that you can get that's kind of like a... in Terraria, what do you call those 5 or 6 slots on the right that like give you little bonuses like double jumps and things? I can't think what you call them in Terraria right now, but it's got a similar kind of thing in this game apparently. I should also note the torch is currently like hanging on the side of the block here, and if I break this block, it'll just adjust to being like that. And so that's very similar to kind of like how Terraria torches work. Yeah, while it's nighttime, I won't be able to handle kind of the number of enemies that we're seeing out here, and so I think I'll skip to the next day, and we'll do a little bit more exploring on the surface. I can see the sky is starting to get lighter outside. I've just been digging out some space. I was going to build a spot for an underground farm for harvesting some crops. You'll notice that some grass just appeared here. As far as I can tell, anytime there's a light near dirt, it will start populating it with grass. And so the torchlight over there was doing it, but it transitions relatively quickly back to nighttime. And, oh, interesting. Apparently the skeletons take damage from the sunlight, and I don't think that I'd ever noticed that before. I think I just hadn't been paying enough attention. So something else I want to show off is that unlike Minecraft or Terraria, the tools have durability. As you can see, there's little bars above them here, and which is kind of like Minecraft, but the tools in this game actually stack. And so basically I can make a second stone sword, and now it has a little number 2 here, and basically when this one breaks and wears out, it'll immediately switch to the second one, which is very convenient. And so, oops, for example, I might go ahead and make myself a couple more stone pickaxes. And so just as each stone pickaxe breaks, I'll have the next stone pickaxe kind of like pop up and be ready to go, which is very convenient. And so you can make yourself a bunch of tools and then just kind of carry them around in your hotbar and not have to worry about them kind of like running out in the middle of battle or in the middle of doing different things. And apparently a cow spawned over here already, but there's still some more bad guys to kill. And I would love to try to kill these spiders, honestly, because if they could drop some string... I don't know, it feels like the spider string is a relatively rare drop in my experience. But getting the bow would be good because it's our first, as far as I can tell, our first ranged weapon that we can get. All right, spider, jump down here. There you go. Great. And the spiders, they're a little bit less predictable in terms of their movement, but for the most part, they just try to like run towards you in your direction. Oh, hey, did he drop 2 string? He did. Neat. Okay, let's go ahead and actually craft ourselves a wooden bow then. That is great. It took me a long time to manage to get the string to craft the bow when I was doing my previous own playthrough, just to get a feel for this game. So I'll go ahead and, I guess I'll go ahead and put it on the bar over here. Switch some things around. But what I wanted to do on the surface now... Okay, you just heard my first stone sword break, and now the second stone sword, which is at full durability, is just kind of like here and ready to go. Interesting, and the cow drowned, I believe. He was just like taking damage over time, and I don't think the slimes were attacking the cow, so I think that was the result of the cow drowning, is what I just saw. The spear, as I mentioned before, is good for hitting enemies who are at a level below you, who especially... Oops, crap. Oh dear, I'm going to take a bunch of damage. Let's get out of here. Let's eat a roasted meat. Saw my health go back up, and yeah, I can eat this too. Great, and that'll bring me almost back up to maximum. You start out with 50 health. I think there's possibly ways that you can increase that in the future, but I'm not sure how you can get more maximum health yet, because I haven't played enough of this game. I've been trying not to look at the wiki and trying not to learn too much stuff. Basically just making sure that I know the major controls of the game, so I'm not doing anything, you know, too horribly wrong. But yeah. In any case, there's a crate down there that I want to go after. But I've been having fun just kind of exploring the game on my own. It's pretty slow. Ores are relatively uncommon underground, for example, is one thing that I found that makes the game slow. And it took me like... I mentioned that you find recipes. I'm hoping that we'll break open one of these crates and actually like see a recipe. But with the simple crafting kind of style that I have on, you can't actually make things until you discover the recipes. So I'm hoping we'll see one here. Doesn't look like it. A recipe ends up being like a little white sheet of paper, and you'll find them inside crates, and they teach you how to craft new things. And so, for example, if I go to the... crafting bench over here, I can make a stone pickaxe, but I don't know how to make any metal pickaxes yet. And so in my other playthrough, it took me like 3 hours before I finally found the recipe in order to get an iron pickaxe, which helped me progress more quickly. And so it's an interesting trade-off. I think there's also like some modes of Don't Starve where you also have to like find recipes in order to actually like learn how to craft certain things. And I've kind of mixed emotions about it. Okay, there's another crate down here that I wanted to go after. But for the most part, I didn't mind that, and especially for a new game, it can kind of be fun. If things move slowly at the beginning. You can see that there's some water physics. I haven't completely explored all the water physics to understand them all. Okay, I think I just saw yes. Metal armor chest. Okay, so this is a craft note, which you can find inside a crate. If I right-click on it to use it, basically it lets me make a bunch of metal armor pieces. And so basically I've learned the recipes for all of these things. And so, for example, iron armor, if I find some iron, I now know how to craft it. It happens at an anvil, and I haven't made an anvil yet, but that's, as you can imagine, a crafting station that we'll be able to get. And another thing is, while you can jump stack, like in Minecraft, you can also just place a block inside the location where you're at, and it just kind of like auto jump stacks. And so that's a way that if you're kind of digging straight down, you can go back up. I think you take fall damage from a height of about 5 blocks. And so I think if I fall down here, I'm actually going to take a significant number of damage points or whatever. I think I'm at 36 right now. And yeah, I can't see what that brought me down to, but just to demonstrate that there's fall damage in this game. So you have to be careful where you're kind of jumping down to. Ooh, I did not make myself... No, I did. I did already make myself a stone shovel. So now that I've used up my wooden shovel, I can use my stone shovel, which is going to dig a little bit faster. And I can just kind of jump stack away out of here a little bit. And, oops, didn't mean to place a block there. The fact that you can jump 2 blocks high, like... It's a little bit awkward in terms of moving around in some spots. The ladders are definitely better for vertical travel, I have found in my experience. But it is also the case that you can kind of, I don't know, dig staircases like you would in Minecraft, for example, where you can only jump 1 block high. And I can't remember, I feel like there was at least one other, I think I just picked up another feather from that little birdie. And we saw we could use the feathers for crafting arrows. Oh, I haven't actually used the bow and arrow yet. Let me go ahead and just make some places that I can jump across here. I guess there aren't going to be any bad guys. I prefer to use my bow and arrows on some bad guys, and so maybe we can dig underground. Like in Terraria, there will be... Yeah, here's the other crate that we saw right at the beginning. Like in Terraria, there'll be kind of like underground structures that have some amazing things. I don't know if there's a correct tool for breaking open these crates. Seems like any tool seems to work. That seemed to be all stuff that we'd encountered before. I just dug out some sand here. There's some cactus over here that I haven't figured out if it really has any utility yet. But I can chop down cactus. And I forget if it also gives me cactus meat is a reagent. I think there's like brewing for like potions and different things in this game, but haven't gotten that far into it to know. But this is sand that I'm digging up. You'll notice that sand does not obey gravity in this game. And so, for example, I can dig some sand here and the sand above it doesn't fall down. But I think maybe... Okay, there's a little underground thing over here, and it looks like there's some ore over here. So let's dig kind of a staircase down to this ore. This will take a moment. Alright, so I've dug my way down here. I'm not sure if this is iron or tin or salt. They all kind of look similar. I think that's salt now. And you'll notice also, I dug out, there's also some salt in the background block here. Let me actually hover over the salt in my inventory. Salt crystal, which I don't remember if I ever figured out. I did figure out one thing to do with that. We can take that out of the back and kind of see the background here. I wonder, is this the layer? Interesting. Where if I dig out the background block... Yeah, I guess we're... no, okay. I'm not sure when you dig out the background blocks, like at some point it just becomes kind of like black behind, but right here I can see the sky behind. It's kind of similar to Terraria in that regard. Yeah, there seems to be a bunch of different ore types. I've only found a few of them. I think like copper, iron, and tin, and then that salt that we saw. I think maybe these are the only things that I've seen. Okay, it's turning nighttime on the surface. And it's also raining. There's weather. Sometimes it rains, and sometimes it snows. And when it snows, like snow accumulates on the grass, and you can like dig it up and get snowballs, and you can use snowballs as kind of ranged attacks against different enemies and things. But I think maybe we got all the crates that we could see on the surface, and I think maybe that might be a good, I don't know, stopping point for our first episode. We've gotten through a couple days and nights. I would like to fire the bow and arrow, actually. Yeah, let me see if I can go... I'm going to try to like dig underneath my base somewhere over here and just see if I can find any kind of underground caverns. And if so, see if we can find an enemy to shoot the bow and arrow at. And then I think that'll be a good place to kind of finish up a first episode. Well, I didn't have to go far. Right under my base, there's at least a little bit of an opening down here. Just like in Terraria, you can find, I guess these are like pots that sometimes contain little critters. Like there's these tiny spiders in here. And also contain some other things. There's some arrows over here, and so I just picked up 5 more arrows, which I'll add to my arrow stash. But I hear, I think, a bat flying around over here, and so I think if I open up this... Oops, okay, there's a spider. Let's try shooting the bow and arrow at him. Arrows have kind of an arc. Yeah, you can get a better sense of it just like that. And so that's a ranged attack. And I think different types of... like weapons like do like piercing damage, and there's like a hammer that you can use that deals like blunt damage or whatever, and certain enemies are vulnerable to certain types of damage or something. I don't know all the details, but I just want to show off using the bow and arrow. I think at this point we're at a good place to stop for the first episode, but hopefully this gives you at least a little bit of a taste of Junkjack. And yeah, it feels to me mostly like Terraria and a little bit like Minecraft. And yeah, I don't know, cute little game. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it at this point. It's early access, kind of costs a lot for what it is, but it seems like there's a lot of content, and so hopefully we'll be able to enjoy some together and a little let's play here. I hope as always that you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye. And when I exited to the title screen, it said Minecraft Terraria. That's a good description.